Hello everyone, it's me BB. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are making pound cake and here are the ingredients. There is like only 4 of them. And I did make this recipe before when I was making madeleines, and I will post the link for that video inside the description box so you can go check it out as well. That's the same exact recipe, but instead of the madeleines we're going to make these as cake. To get started, we need some butter and we need to measure it. And here we have like a light aluminum bowl that's it's gonna help us keep the butter inside. And when I put it on the scale, it's already like 6 grams, so we're gonna need 250 grams of butter, and you add the 6 grams from the pan, you're gonna end up with 256 grams all total. So, and the butter is unsalted, and this whole package is about 200 grams of butter, and I will need a little bit more to come up with 256 grams. And some of these ingredients, the packaging, if you're not familiar with it, because at the time I'm making this video, I happen to be in Senegal, Africa. So if you're not familiar with it or you cannot find it at your local grocery store, that is the reason why. As you can see, with a little bit of leftover from the butter, we have about 9 grams already. Now we're going to add 250 grams of granulated sugar. And you can do lower than that if you don't like it too sweet. And then the butter and the sugar is going to be mixed together with the electrical whisk. And you want to mix everything until the sugar and the butter has been very well incorporated. Once you're done with the mixing, next it's time to separate the egg yolks with the whites. And the yolks is going to be inside the sugar and butter mixture, and the whites you're going to set it aside. Later on you're going to beat it with the electrical whisk. This recipe is pretty easy because you don't have no baking powder, no baking soda, no yeast, and that's why I really like it. I've been making it for years now, and sometimes I do add some shredded coconut, and you can also add some vanilla extract if you like. So back to the scale again. This time we're going to need to weigh the flour, and we're going to need some 250 grams of all-purpose flour. And for this recipe, it will never work if you use ounces or cups. Like, it will work if you use grams. For some reason, like grams or kilograms, that will work like that. I think the reason why is grams measure mass, like weight, and ounce, it measure volumes. So I think that's why. Correct me if I'm wrong, I might not be sure. So always use grams or kilograms when you make this recipe. So you want to make sure you sift the flour before you add it into the mixture, just to make sure it's nice and airy, it has no lumps. And the next step here, we're going to mix the egg whites. And you want to mix it all the way till you have like a nice, solid, thick texture. Once you're done mixing with the egg whites, you want to go back and just mix the flour, because remember the flour was mixed with a wooden spoon, and the electrical whisk is going to help it make sure the flour is well incorporated. Then you want to come and take your time and start blending the egg whites lightly. Just take your time with it. I know the video might look like I'm doing it fast, but actually it's not. So take your time, take a little bit at a time, and blend everything until it's well incorporated. Next, it's time to transfer the cake batter into the baking pan. And here the baking pan is about 5 by 9. And before we do that, you want to make sure it's greased up well. That's why you're going to add some of the leftover butter and coat everything everywhere around the baking pan. Then you're going to sprinkle some flour just to make sure the cake is going to come out easy from the baking pan. So this cake is going to be baked at a 250 degrees oven for about 30-35 minutes. And this is what the cake looks like once it comes out from the oven. And also it tastes way better than in the next morning. Like the next day it tastes better. And I'm going to slice it like I would slice some bread. And this is what it looks like. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time for another new video. Bye!